why you were here?
This is it. Don't get scared.
Welcome back to a brand new Flick Pick live show. This is it. Don't get scared now. And happy day after Thanksgiving, but most importantly, happy Dead Black Friday day. Let me share a story with all of you before we dive into the movie topics and I answer anything and everything that you guys ask. Tonight, I did attempt to make a Black Friday video for you because it's my annual tradition. I go amongst the unwashed masses to buy shit that I don't want and don't need to impress people I don't like. Except for you guys. I like all of you. And I went to Walmart tonight and I tried to make a video. But the unfortunate thing is, Black Friday simply does not exist anymore. I scoured up and down the aisles. I looked high and low. And I went to the movie section of the store, and it was pretty much the same shit you see every day that you go to Walmart. The best deal I saw was Twisters on 4K for $19.99, which is not a deal at all. It's a blatant lie and a smack in the face, or at least that's how I took it. But I did leave the store with some Listerine and some candy. That was my Black Friday pickups this year. So Black Friday is essentially dead. And listen, it's sort of been on the way out for the last 5 years. But every year, I was at least able to squeeze out a video because I was able to go into a store and find some physical media that makes me feel happy and warm inside. It makes me feel tingly down below, and that's if you know what I'm talking about. But this year, with Best Buy completely eradicating all of their physical media, which still baffles me. Like, why not just have one shelf? How much floor space would it really take up to have one shelf of some 4K movies in your store? I have no other reason to go to Best Buy ever again in my life. So with all that said, I'm sorry I will not have a Black Friday video this year for you. I attempted, but there was nothing to show you or talk about or buy. Unless I was going to buy a toaster. Maybe there was a sale on that. But I looked all around Walmart. I didn't see one deal worth buying. Now, if you want some big TVs that might not be that great, there's some deals to be had there, and that's pretty much the only thing I saw people buying. I saw a lot of people in Walmart. People showed up. The consumers were there, but it didn't feel like there was any deals to be had or anything to buy. And that's odd, isn't it? Like, I went to Best Buy tonight. There was more people in Best Buy tonight than I've seen in Best Buy for the last year. I'm not quite sure what they were buying, though. It's like everyone was walking around like NPC characters and bouncing off each aisle, but they weren't buying anything. There was nothing in their hands. It's bizarre to me. So anyway, Black Friday is dead. It's gone. It's buried. And it's kind of sad. It hurts me inside. As a guy who loves movies and physical media, that essentially was my only reason for going out on Black Friday for the last decade. And now I have no other reason. I'm truly now just a recluse. And that's why we're doing a live stream tonight, because I don't have a Black Friday video to give you. And once again, I tried. And I failed you, Master Wayne. I failed you. So please forgive my sins against humanity. But now my question for you, if you did go out on Black Friday, or if you did pick up any awesome Black Friday deals, including movies or TVs or what have you, please share that right now in the chat. Let me know what you picked up, any good deals. Let me know what the title was, the cost, and where you picked it up. That way everyone tuning in right now can maybe get some advice on where to go if they want to buy anything. But yeah, I was not seeing any deals. And I sort of looked at Amazon. I looked at Walmart.com. I didn't see anything really worth buying. Like, the best deals were at least $10, but there wasn't any stellar titles I came across, unless you guys have some insights I don't know of. But without further ado, let's dive into the questions. And thank you guys so much for joining me for a very impromptu live show tonight. I missed you guys. And I hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving. I hope you guys ate a delicious turkey with extra stuffing. And you know me, if I could take a bath in mashed potatoes, I probably would. And I did my best yesterday to do so. Yeah, Thanksgiving was good with the family. And but now we're here talking movies. Rest in peace, Black Friday. That is That is true. James Doshier, how's it going, buddy? Thanks for joining. Max Dugenbauer, how's it going with you? I miss $3.99 Blu-rays. $3.99 Blu-rays literally gave me a reason to live for about 2 years. And then they took it away from us. Anyway. How's it going, Smagoli? Chris Salmu's in here who says, was in Boston today, genuinely too quiet for Black Friday. Yeah, listen, I'm all about going out on Black Friday and just looking around. You don't necessarily have to buy shit, but sometimes it's just fun to go window shopping. But it's definitely a tradition dying down. And maybe that's for the best, maybe it's for the worst. But in all honesty, if I could rewind the clock and go back 10 years... I would be just as happy and complacent in life. I think 10 years ago, the peak of technology was enough. We had everything we needed. We had GPS. We had the internet. We had fast internet. But most importantly, Black Friday was still a tradition, an American tradition, which I highly support. But now it's slowly dying. But with all that said, let's dive into the questions. And I will get to the chat here talking about some of the movies you guys picked up. But relating to Black Friday deals, we have one here from Elliot Cecil, and thank you so much, Elliot Cecil, for the super chat, man. I'm looking to buy a new TV. Is a 4K TCL 60-inch M7 QLED good for someone who's trying to save money, who also wants a smooth and vivid picture? Well, when you say smooth and vivid, are you trying to watch cinema, or are you trying to play video games, or what have you? Now, I did do some quick research because you asked that question about 2 minutes before I went live. And I looked at that TV, and the cheapest one I could come across was like $600. 65. So if you're getting a 60-inch TV for $600, I would probably do some shopping around. I would check Costco. That's the number one place I would check for a new TV on Black Friday, just because they have a great warranty and their prices, in my opinion, are pretty fair. I think there were some Samsung TVs and some Sony TVs, 4K LEDs. They might have been 65-inch, and they were like $400 to $500, which would be cheaper than the TV you mentioned. I don't know all the stats on the M7. If it isn't a mini LED TV, the contrast might be good. But for $600-700, what I would do if I were you, I would definitely check Costco, check Sam's Club, and look at some OLED options. And for maybe a few $100 more, especially if you're looking at the 60-inch size for a TV, you might be able to squeak in an OLED TV for close to that price point. And that would be my recommendation for anything under $1,000, especially if you're in the 60-inch model. So good luck, man. Sorry I don't have more advice for you. But that's what I would look at first. And hey, if you want to take a chance and buy the TV you mentioned, it's 60 inches, the M7 TCL, go ahead and buy it. Buy it off Amazon. And if you don't like that shit, just return it. That's my advice to you. I've definitely returned more TVs than I've bought. If that makes any sense. Probably not. But I've returned a lot of TVs. I'm a picky asshole when it comes to my picture quality. I will say that. So, but good luck, man. All right, the next one comes from... Oh, thanks. You guys are killing it with the questions. And real quick, I did want to mention this live show does in fact have a sponsor. And big thanks to Sony Soundbar 8 for sponsoring this live show and my YouTube channel this month. Much appreciated, because I'm poor and it does help out. So what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to give a quick mention to the sponsor of this video, and it's only about 45 seconds. Then we'll get back into the questions. I'll give you guys some time to put some more questions in here. But most importantly, I do want to mention this. I have been using this soundbar for the last month. It sounds phenomenal. It's like bringing the home theater experience to your living room where you can eat popcorn in your underwear. It's a beautiful thing. I quite enjoy it. Sounds awesome. It's a pricey soundbar, but my God, it's definitely worth it. So if you guys are in the market for a soundbar that's somewhat expensive, but it has Atmos, it's got every feature you could ever imagine, and plus with the Sony soundbar ecosystem, you can actually attach rear satellite speakers to it and a subwoofer, which is what I did. So my living room is just banging when I'm watching movies lately, for multiple reasons. But with all that said, the link to the soundbar is down below in the description box, and it's a big help. I can't stress this enough. If you just simply click the link down below in the description box to the Sony Soundbar 8 and check out the stats, look at it, that is a big help to the channel. If you pick one up, even better. But if you just check out the link down below, it significantly helps my channel. So if you guys like me and you appreciate the content we've been crapping out for the last 14 years on YouTube, just click the link down below. Quick mention to the Sony Soundbar 8, and then I'll get right back into the questions. So if you guys want to grab some popcorn, this might be a good time. Or if you want to check out a cool soundbar, this is definitely the time. I will be right back in 45 seconds. Don't go anywhere. Welcome to my living room, because I want to tell you about the Bravia Theater Bar 8 with 11 speakers, Dolby Atmos, and DTS-X. With this soundbar, you can bring the theater experience home, because there's nothing better than eating popcorn in your underwear while you watch a great movie. The Theater Bar 8 features 360 spatial sound mapping, which gives you the cinema-style surround sound. The sound is auto-calibrated to your room's characteristics with sound field optimization. It also supports industry-standard audio formats including Dolby Atmos, DTS-X, and IMAX Enhanced. And right now, you can get $200 off by using the link down below. So if you want more info or want to pick one up for yourself, check out the link down below and save $200 off right now. So once again, the link to that bad boy is down below. It does help the channel just by checking out the link, okay? All right, so let's dive into the questions, and thank you guys so much. You guys are too good to me. All right, so the first one comes from Caleb. John, anything you're looking to get on Black Friday, and how often do you eat those magical mystical brownies? Thanks for streaming today. I don't eat the brownies. I'm more of a gummy guy, and I will say pretty much just about every day of my life. It's the only way I can cope with this thing we call reality. And I will say this. These gummies definitely help my perspective and make me watch movies in a different way. Even if it's a film I've seen 100 times, I look at it from a different perspective. And I think that is what I enjoy most about it. And plus, it makes me happy and enjoy life, because I'm a grumpy asshole 90% of the time, but they make me feel like a 10-year-old boy on Christmas Day. But as far as picking up anything on Black Friday, like I mentioned earlier, I went out. I was looking to buy anything or anything cool I saw, or basically just movies, and I did not see one movie worth buying. But thanks for the question. And Cool Keyboard Commando says, hey, John, it's going to be 2025. Ain't that wild? It really is. If going back to like the late 1990s, I could not envision what the future would be like in 2025. I thought there would be flying cars and holograms of Jaws in every corner coming down to bite me. Yes, I am referring back to the future too. But really, we just kind of have fast internet and everything kind of feels the same, right? But now we have these little screens that we carry around everywhere that we literally have to do anything in life. Without an internet connection, you might as well be dead. That scares me. But what was the question again? Oh, yes, 2025. It is wild. But hey, bring it on, man. Zazaz says, John, feet pics. I save those for my members only and my Patreon supporters. But for a $1.99 super chat, man, I appreciate the question, but I don't know if I can whip my tootsies out just for that. Listen. I had a great joke there. Maybe I'll save that one for later. But I am wearing socks right now, but no feet pics today. If you look hard enough on the internet, I do in fact have feet pics somewhere. I'm telling you, I do. I have to. Anyway, we'll get back to that later. Let's go to the next question. It's getting weird. Skylar Wheelock says, did you read the article I sent you on Twitter about Over the Top getting a 4K release this April? Well, Skylar, I indeed did see that, and I want to say thanks to all of you. I like you guys quite a bit. I received probably 48 messages between Instagram and Twitter of people telling me that Over the Top is hitting 4K. So I thank you for that, and I appreciate that. And it's nice to know that people truly understand me. And what defines me as a person? Well, that's grown men covered in baby oil wrestling for custody of their children, because that's how you should solve every problem in life, or at least in my opinion. But I definitely am looking forward to Over the Top on 4K. And my birthday's in April, so that'll be a gift I give myself. And maybe, just maybe, I should review Over the Top one of these days. That is a movie I still have to show my wife at some point. And she'll either understand me more so, or we're going to get a divorce immediately after the movie if she doesn't like it. So let's go to the next question here. The next one comes from Jesus Salcido, who says, does marriage change the relationship in any way? Not really. The only thing it really changed was it made my health insurance significantly more expensive, to the point where I can't afford it, and to the point where I'm probably going to have to do operations on myself in my garage. Really, outside of that, no, it's kind of the same thing, with just more legality behind it. James Dosher says, hey, John, hope you had a great Thanksgiving. I did. I hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving. And even if you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, I hope you had a good day. I got Rocky Balboa in 4K from Amazon for Black Friday. I feel like getting movies on Amazon is the only way to go these days. Yeah, I looked around on Amazon. I didn't really see any amazing deals. Maybe there were some decent ones to be had, but it feels like I pretty much own everything I want outside of a few titles. If Over the Top was on 4K right now on Amazon, I'd probably buy it. But other than that, I did not see anything else to pick up, man, but I hope you enjoy that. Colin Ferris says LG OLED is the only way to go for a TV, as long as it doesn't die after 2 years like John's. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, because when it comes to OLED TVs, every single one I've owned after 2 years, especially LGs, have always had a problem. They look great, but then they always fuck up, and you better have a warranty to fix the TV. And I think that's just every TV you spend at least over $1,500 on, you should get a warranty on. Because everything that we buy today is meant to break in about 2 years. That way you can throw that big hunk of junk in the trash can. It ends up in a landfill somewhere, and it kills a fish in the ocean. That way you can rebuy it every 2 to 3 years. They just want you to keep buying the same junk over and over again. All right. But I'm going to keep doing that because I need a beautiful picture quality on my TV. So anyway, definitely get a warranty on your TV. That's the best advice I can ever give you in life. We got one in here from OMB Reviews. How's it going, Odin? Happy Thanksgiving to you, or at least happy Black Friday. But then again, Black Friday's dead, so let's just talk about what you had to say here. Columbia Classics 4K Volume 4 set, I think, is down to about $85. Yeah, I have the new 4K. I have volume. Do I have? Yeah, I have Volume 4. I thought there was 5. Hey, hang on. 3, 4, 5. Okay. I have them back there on the floor. So there are 5 volumes out, but I guess 4 is on sale. In my opinion, when it comes to the Columbia Classics, some of the titles are hit or miss. There's always like one good title in every volume. For me, the Taxi Driver one was probably the best. But yeah, there's one deal for you. $85, the Columbia Classics Volume 4 set. My only complaint with those, let me grab one, because I think a visual is always important when referencing something. So give me about 4.5 seconds. I lied. Give me more. Okay. Okay, here's the one we're referencing right now. Here's the Volume 4. There's not really any titles in here that I consider a must-own by any means. Like you have His Girl Friday, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, Kramer vs. Kramer, Starman, Sleepless in Seattle, Punch Drunk Love. These aren't necessarily some of my favorite movies, but my only complaint with these releases are they're sort of, I call these board game style boxes because they're rectangular and they just kind of barely fit on a shelf, but they do open up. They're kind of cool. Nice classy sets. It just depends on the movies in each volume. My favorite was the Taxi Driver release. I think that was volume 2, maybe? Okay. Let's go to the next one here. Nice to see you, Odin. Thanks for joining me, buddy. I missed you. Yeah, John says, went to see Gladiator 2. It sucked. Politics. Yeah, Denzel, not even trying an accent. Just talking like Denzel. It might as well have been Denzel from Training Day in the Roman Coliseum, which, hey, when you think about it that way, maybe it does make it slightly better, but I hated the movie. And if you want to see how much I hated the movie, just watch the last live stream. I talk about it in great detail. All right, let's go to the next one here. And the next one comes from Dustin Rich, who says, which holiday classic would you rather watch this week, In the Mouth of Madness or Neon Demon? I've never watched Neon Demon, so I might go with Neon Demon, man. I've been meaning to watch that. Oh, you know what I watched last night? I watched It's Saturday Night, the movie based on the first episode of SNL. And I was looking forward to watching the movie, and I think it's good. I don't think it's great. It definitely does condense a lot of things that may have happened into one night that didn't happen in one night. For example, I think Dan Aykroyd wasn't even on the cast of SNL until like a year or two later. But anyway, I thought the guy who played Chevy Chase in that movie was phenomenal. I don't think you could have got a better actor to portray Chevy Chase. But as far as like recommending the movie, if you're a fan of SNL, I'd recommend it. But outside of that, at best, for me, it was a one-time watch. And I keep in mind, I paid $20 to rent this and stream it last night. But it kind of felt forced a little bit as far as the film goes. But it was an okay one watch. There was something else I was trying to decide on what to watch last night. It's also streaming, and it was $20. And I was like, I don't know if I can pull the trigger on that. It was something else that just came out. I am sort of looking forward to the new Clint Eastwood movie, Juror Number 2. I think that comes out next week. But there's something that just came out on streaming I was going to watch last night, and I can't remember what it was. Chris Solomon says, plans for the weekend? Well, right now, as I babble to you guys on the internet and talk about movies and other random shit, my wife is currently decorating the house with Christmas decorations. We have 3 Christmas trees. One of them is a movie-themed Christmas tree, which is black, and the angel on top of it is actually Darth Vader, and we put that in our theater room. But I will help maybe set that up. But she's decorating right now. After this, I'm going to go out there and join her, and then we'll probably eat some popcorn and hang out. And Saturday, which is tomorrow, yes, tomorrow. What year is it? So Saturday, tomorrow, I'm going to watch Survivor Series, WWE Survivor Series. That's one of the things I'm looking forward to. And then Sunday, I'm going to go see Wicked again with my wife and her family who have not seen it. So that should be a good time. And the reason I'm kind of looking forward to seeing Wicked again is because the first time I went to see it, I missed the first 8 minutes of the movie because for some odd reason, they didn't play any trailers. Usually you get to a movie an hour after it starts and they're still playing trailers and they're showing, what's her name? Who married Nicole Kidman. They're showing Nicole Kidman's Botoxed face that looks like she was stung by 1,000 bees, talking about movies, walking around, looking like a mannequin with baloney taped to its face. And that's usually what's playing when I walk into the cinema. So I try to be late to avoid that because it gives me nightmares. But yeah, they skipped all the trailers for Wicked, so I missed the first few minutes of it. So those are the weekend plans. All right, let's go to the next one here. Clark Ingleton says, John, I think you need to bury the hatchet with the penguin lady. Or, I'm sorry, you said the pigeon lady. But really, what's the difference? She's a nice woman. She just needs a hug. No, she needs a bath. And most importantly, she doesn't just need a bath. She needs to be dipped in acid. until she melts away and disintegrates. Then we can dump the remains down the toilet and never talk about it again. If you don't know the backstory on the pigeon lady, well, just go watch Home Alone 2. All right, the next one comes from Veva Vibing with Film, who says, what makes a film art/not art? Any overrated film? Well, there's always a fine line with, in my opinion, what makes a film art and not art. I think most importantly, if a film makes you feel something, I think that can be considered art. It did its job. It evoked an emotion from you by telling a story. I would say that's art. So for me, if I don't feel anything by the end of a movie, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that you can't watch some bloated, big action-packed blockbuster movie that's a little too contrasty and oversaturated, directed by Michael Bay. But if that movie makes you feel anything, okay, it worked. It did its job. And, you know, I'll give credit where credit's due. For example, the first time I watched Transformers, the first one by Michael Bay, it made me feel like a kid again. I enjoyed it. I had a good time. I thought that movie kind of did what it should. It felt like a summer blockbuster that was fun to look at. You got Transformers. You got Sam Witwicky screaming at the top of his lungs, being all fidgety and weird. And it was a good time. Would I consider that high art? Probably not, but it's art. It did its job. So I guess I just consider any movie that makes you feel anything art. But it's all subjective, right? All right, Skylar Wheelock says, do you miss the Mufasa movie? Do you think the Mufasa movie is a movie that's worth being made, especially it's telling the backstory of Mufasa and Scar, or is it, in your opinion, a cash grab and nothing more? I do want to see it. I think it might be an okay time at the theater. I don't have any expectations from it. I was not a fan of the live action, and by live action, I just mean CGI version of The Lion King. I wasn't a big fan of that. And in my opinion, I think they're trying to be too photorealistic with these lions. And I think there's definitely a stylistic tone that can meet somewhere in the middle, not being photorealistic or accurate to real life, but leaning towards the more cartoonish route, just by like 20%. Just dive back into the cartoon style 20%. And if you do that, these lions will be able to emote more emotion in these live action films. That way I don't just look like it doesn't look like a lion with Down syndrome, to where I'm just looking at the screen and its mouth is barely moving, but it's trying to be so expressive, and I just can't buy what I'm looking at on the screen. So that's what I wish they would do with the Lion King live action movies. But as far as seeing Mufasa, there's a lot of things throwing me off. First of all, does he get his deeper voice at some point later in life? In this new Mufasa movie, is he like 18 years old and he hasn't gotten the deep voice yet? I don't know. And I understand that, you know, rest in peace, but the voice throws me off. I don't like the look of Scar. Isn't Scar like kind of like a white line or something in this one? I don't know. It just looks odd to me. It definitely does look forced. And there's nothing about the story, or at least the story I'm getting from the trailer, that entices me to see it. But, you know, it's a big live action CGI $200 million movie. I'll check it out in the theater, but I don't have any expectations for it. But what I am looking forward to is Nosferatu. That's what I want to see this Christmas season. All right, the next one comes from Chris, who says, can I come to your house for Christmas? I'll get you some candy. Well, I don't know if I can go that far, but we can hang out here where I'm safe in my underwear. All right, the next one comes from Damon Ikion Scott. Dominican, I can't read your first name. But for the sake of this argument, I'll just say Dominican Scott. Any expectations for physical media next year? Oh yeah, it's gone. It's dead. Savor what you have now. It's a niche market at best. Everything you buy will probably come from it'll come from Walmart or online. Those are the places you can buy physical media. But it's definitely becoming a more niche market, that's for sure. So that's where it's going. James Doshier says, John, in 3 weeks, Stone Cold Steve Austin will be 60 years old. I know, isn't that crazy, man? Hey, he looked good a couple years ago at WrestleMania. Oh, hell yeah. All right. Night King 01 says, John, No Country for Old Men comes out on Criterion December 10th on 4K. Trust me, John, when I say Criterion makes the best 4Ks. I'm very aware they do. Absolutely. They care about it. They nurture it. I agree. I'll tell you one 4K I need to get from Criterion. That is Days of Confused on 4K. I have the Blu-ray, but I want to upgrade it. The next one comes from Skylar Wheelock, who says, if Fantastic Four and Superman fail critically and financially, do you think the death of superhero films will be solidified, except for Batman and Spider-Man? I think a lot is riding on the line with the new James Gunn Superman movie. I think if that does not do well, if that is not a box office success and critically well received, I don't have high hope for all these other projects that Warner Brothers wants to dive into when it comes to the DC universe of things. Are we going to get a new Batman movie after that? Are we going to get a Green Lantern TV show after that? I don't know. Probably not. But I do have, I think if the new Superman trailer, if the trailer is good, and they'll definitely, the first thing you'll see in that new Superman trailer is from the director of Guardians of the Galaxy. That's the first thing you're going to see with that. I'm telling you right now. If the trailer is good, then maybe the movie will be okay. You know, even if the movie's not good, it needs a good trailer. Like, that trailer better be phenomenal. That better be one of the best teaser trailers of all time. And it better get your juices flowing and get the goosebumps. It better make both of my bat nipples hard. Or else I'm not going to look forward to it. I don't know. I am kind of looking forward to it, but at the same time, I would rather just... I get that they're starting off with Superman as the starting point. But then again, Warner Brothers did that with Man of Steel, and it didn't quite turn out the way they were hoping. Maybe the best way to lay the foundation for your new DC universe would have been just to start off strong with the new Batman movie. Maybe that would have been the best way to go. That's what I would have done. That way, at least you would get a new Batman movie, and if all else fails, at least you got a new Batman movie, right? I'd much rather have a new Batman movie than a new Superman movie. That's just me. But I'm selfish when it comes to my vigilantes wrapped in black latex.
Burger King or McDonald's.
All right, the next one comes from... who's it coming from here? Okay. No, I have not seen Shelby Oaks yet. I have not. I'm sure it's in a hard drive in Chris's basement somewhere, but I have not seen it yet. All right, the next one comes from TJ McIntyre, who says, Goodfellas, top 3 movies for me, funniest movie ever. I love me some Goodfellas, man. I really do. But when it comes to mob movies and Scorsese, I actually prefer Casino. I think Casino is the more interesting, fun movie. I liked the location of Vegas. I like Richard. What's his name? Oh my God, I just forgot his name. How did I forget this actor's name? Joe Pesci. Let me slap myself for my sins against humanity. You can never forget Joe Pesci's name. There. I'm going to bite off every single one of these fingers one at a time. But no, I think Casino is the better Scorsese movie. If you have Goodfellas or Casino, I'd much rather watch Casino. That's just me, though. All right, the next one comes from... Plus, I think it's funnier as a movie. I really do. And Sharon Stone in that movie, wearing go-go boots, being all crazy. I love it. Okay, the next one comes from Observing the Apocalypse 2, who says, would you rather go to hell or heaven? Vote hell. What? Listen, I'd rather just live in eternity in my underwear, watching movies that I love, eating popcorn, and drinking Sprite Zeros with my wife. That would be heavenly enough. And that's typically what I do on a weekly basis. That would be heaven for me. All right, the next one comes from Potted Plant Entertainment, who says, hey, John, it's been a while since I've commented. Just wondering if you like anything Star Trek. I can respect the original TV series. I have seen Wrath of Khan probably once, and I get it. I like it. A lot of the Star Trek movies I find very boring. But when it comes to like the J.J. Abrams Star Trek movie from 2009, I enjoyed that immensely. I thought that was a good time. And I recently went back and watched that. And when it comes to watching an awesome looking 4K movie, Star Trek, the 2009 J.J. Abrams version, is pretty awesome. I would almost qualify it as like a demo quality movie to watch. The sound in it's awesome. I love the score. I love the visual style of J.J. Abrams brought to Star Trek in that movie. It has like this energy. I love the cast. Zachary Quinto and Chris Pine in that movie are great. I like the dynamic. So I liked that. As far as the sequels go, Star Trek, what was the second one called? It wasn't Beyond. Star Trek, oh gosh, what's her name? In her underwear. Oh gosh, what was that called? Maybe it was Beyond. Anyway, I thought that was an okay sequel. The third one just felt like it was trying to be like Fast and Furious in space, and the IQ dropped too much to be a Star Trek movie. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Star Trek. My favorite one is probably the 2009 one. Okay, the next one comes from... Here we go. Okay, David G says, how would Patrick Bateman do on a Costco run? Well, that's an interesting thought. He would definitely get the Costco hot dog and soft drink for $1.99. He would definitely cruise the TV section. And then he would promptly leave by saying he has to return some videotapes. I was going to do this whole Patrick Bateman monologue about the samples of Costco, but it's too late to be witty right now, so please forgive me. I don't just look at the samples. I eat them. All right, the next one comes from David G, who says... Oh, we answered that. Skylar Wheelock says, what are some shows and movies you don't talk about often that you enjoy? I pretty much talk about everything I enjoy. Right now I'm watching Better Call Saul. I've seen it already. My wife has not. And I will say this. Breaking Bad is definitely the superior TV show. Better Call Saul is a phenomenal spin-off prequel. I will give it that, but Breaking Bad is definitely the superior show. A few other shows, TV shows that I enjoy. Well, I talk about Stranger Things quite often. I'm trying to think of something I don't talk about often that I watch. I really give credit where credit's due on all my favorite shows. Mastermind, I think, is a phenomenal TV show that I wish was never canceled. There's some other TV shows I've watched that I couldn't quite get into. Off the top of my head, I'm sorry. I don't have any other TV shows that I can mention that I'm trying to think. I've talked about Game of Thrones a million times. I'm trying to think of another TV show that I don't reference or talk about, though. That's really it. I think that's it. I'm sorry I don't have a better answer for you. Please forgive me. The next one comes from... Oh, yes. Okay, here's a TV show. We'll talk about this. in just 1 second. Big Daddy Deke says, Johnny, I'm watching Cobra Kai just for John Kreese. In season 6, he went to a cave just to kill a effing cobra to teach kids karate. What a legend. There's nothing creepier in life than looking at John Kreese with way too much Botox in his face, and he has this weird obsession with just hanging out with children to teach them karate. Sounds like an excuse at this point. But anyway, John Kreese is pretty awesome, and I hope one day to become him. Will I escape prison because Cobra Kai? Absolutely. And speaking of Cobra Kai season 6, I think I've gotten through the first episode of it, and I think what I need to do is just I think what I'm going to do is just skip to the last episode and watch it, because there's nothing worth watching other than just getting to the conclusion of this shit. I don't need anything else. I'll just watch the final episode of season 6 and, okay, got it. All right. Karate tournament. Dimitri's going to MIT, and John Kreese likes kids maybe too much. Cobra Kai. Got it. So those are my thoughts. The next one comes from Vefa Vibing with Film, once again, who says, love from Iran, fan for 12 years, you make my life better. Well, that is such a compliment, and that makes me feel good. So thank you for that, and I hope you're doing well, man, over there. I can't even imagine. That's insane, man. Well, thanks for hanging out all the way from Iran, and thanks for watching, man. All right, it's sometimes it's baffling that you really put things in perspective, and there's a guy right now 4,000 miles away watching my stupid face babble on about John Kreese. That to me is surreal. Anyway. All right, the next one comes from OMB Reviews, who says Criterion now goes on sale every other month. So yeah, there'll be sales next month, and if there's nothing to buy now, I wouldn't die trying. Hello, Tom Roberts. Thanks for joining the chat. And by the way, quick mention to all my YouTube members, if you guys are watching, chime in the chat right now. I'll answer whatever you guys type. But most importantly, if you guys are YouTube members or Patreon supporters, if you go to this channel right now, I posted a few member-only videos. I did a room tour of the Flick Cave. It's like 16 minutes long. I filmed it in my underwear, but it's just a POV shot, so you'll never know. And then I put up another kind of quick, wicked movie review while still in the theater. So a couple videos just for you guys on this channel. Go to the videos. You'll see them if you are a member. So thanks for hanging out with me. All right, the next one comes from, oh gosh, here we go. Martin Valuke, who says, after The Rock's comments, John Campea said if someone sings next to him in the theater, he will dick slap them. Do you agree with that as a punishment? Well, I don't... If John Campea is using his cock to slap someone, that'll be the lightest slap ever in the history of all of humanity. But with all that said, I respect it and I fully support it. Now, if you do that in the theater, you might end up on a registry list somewhere where you're not allowed to live within a 2-mile radius of a school zone, so maybe don't do the dick slap. But a backhand? Absolutely. Physical violence? Is it the answer? Not always, but sometimes. Sometimes when you're dealing with people that have absolutely no etiquette or self-awareness, that don't respect the cathartic experience of watching a movie in the cinema, they definitely deserve a backhand in the face. Okay? And I think that's the smallest price they can pay for their sins against humanity. But a dick slap? Maybe a step too far. I don't know. But absolutely. As far as singing in the theater, no, you should be doing that at home. If you want to watch a musical and sing, do it at home. The theater is a place to laugh, cry, smile, a few quick comments to your friend beside you, as long as you keep your voice down every once in a while. But other than that, you should watch popcorn, shut the fuck up, and enjoy the movie. That's what you do in the theater. So yeah, those are my thoughts on that. All right. I don't know, man. Yeah, if you pull a dick slap in the theater, man, you're gonna. That's like pulling a Paul Rubens. All right. If you don't know what I'm talking about, or if you're too young, Google will be your friend. Type in Pee Wee Herman movie theater arrest. All right, let's go to the next one here. Who says? Psychotic, who says, do you think James Gunn will fix the DC universe? I think the biggest issue with the DC universe is just lack of having a destination. Where do you want to end up on this journey? Where do all these movies culminate? And I think when they first started with Man of Steel, they had no idea where they were going with that. And it was kind of clear. And also, I think having Zack Snyder be the lead creative in combining all of your story elements for a shared universe is probably not the best choice. Now, can Zack Snyder direct the shit out of a movie stylistically and tonally and have some cool visuals? Sure, absolutely. But as far as storytelling goes, no, you get somebody else to do that. All right. So do I have faith in James Gunn? Yeah, I think James Gunn has a good head for obviously being a director. Do I love all of his movies? Absolutely not. I thought Suicide Squad was a mess. Also directed by James Gunn. But then again, the Guardians of the Galaxy movies were pretty good. So I think he's a good choice. I have faith in James Gunn. And once again, it goes back to, let's just see that first trailer for the new Superman movie. And then we can really have a deep dive discussion on where that's going. All right, the next one comes from, I always hate, the chat always freezes up in here. I'm sorry. Here, there we go. There we go. Now it's updating. Taylor Goad said he's in New Zealand watching. Well, thanks for that, man. All right, the next one comes from Bo Cylinder, who says, Burger King or McDonald's? Well, I went on a phase where I was buying a Whopper probably 3 times a week and using the Burger King app, which if you have a Burger King close by and you want to save some money, the Burger King app is it's a pretty good deal. It was like I was getting shit for free every other day. But my biggest issue with that is after a week of eating Burger King, I just felt like I was human sludge. And those Whoppers really started to add up. And I don't know what it is. But if I'm feeling a little bit feisty and nasty, I usually just go to McDonald's. I typically go to McDonald's over Burger King, and they're both across the street. Now, if I had a Wendy's closer, I would probably pick Wendy's if I had the choice between the trio fast food restaurants. Because I quite enjoy the spicy chicken nuggets from Wendy's. Oh, God, just talking about them now. Oh, I want one. I would give anything for a spicy chicken nugget right now. All right. The next question comes from Wrangler52, who says, John, I'm on a Leo DiCaprio kick lately. Which of his films do I watch tonight? Also, what would you say is your favorite film of his? When it comes to Leo, man, he's probably one of my favorite actors, and there's been some rumors going around that he's on the P. Diddy hit list. I don't know if that's true. I'm just saying, but when it comes to him being an actor, a few of my favorite performances from him are definitely Catch Me If You Can. If you have not seen Catch Me If You Can, one of the last great Steven Spielberg movies, highly recommend that. I quite enjoyed him in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I liked his performance in that as Rick Dalton. Get that mechanical asshole out of here. I love me some Rick Dalton. I relate to him quite a bit. If you haven't seen the Basketball Diaries and you want to watch Leonardo DiCaprio addicted to coke, or I'm sorry, heroin, give that a watch. I loved him in What's Eating Gilbert Grape. If you've never seen that, that's also a great performance from Leo. Ani! I love it. I love it, man. Great. I'm trying to think. One movie of Leo's that does not get enough credit, but I completely understand and it's sort of justified, would be a movie called The Beach. And I think it's kind of a cool premise. Now, by the third act of the movie, The Beach, it kind of falls apart. But like the first two acts of the movie, The Beach, I think it's a good time. And you probably haven't seen that if you're starting fresh on some new Leo movies. Those would be a few recommendations. But then you have the obvious picks like Inception. You have Titanic. So I'm trying to think of another Leo movie that maybe a lot of people don't talk about. There's got to be something I'm not thinking of here. We'll just go with those for right now. And if you guys have another Leo movie, yeah, Django. He has a great cameo in Django as Calvin Candy. First you had my attention, now you have my curiosity. Now, Eskimo Joe, why do you reckon they call him that? I don't know. Maybe it was cold one day and his name was Joe. All right, the next one comes from. Sorry, I was still thinking about the dick slap question. Here it goes. Jesus Salcido, who says, "Oh yeah, The Aviator." Listen, let's back up before we dive into this question, Jesus. When it comes to The Aviator, directed by Scorsese, I quite enjoy the movie, but I don't think Leo was quite old enough to play Howard Hughes. Right now, he would make a good Howard Hughes. Oh, Wolf of Wall Street. There's another Leo movie you have to watch. One of my favorites. But when it comes to him playing Howard Hughes, he looked like a little boy playing dress up in his daddy's clothes. He just didn't quite look like he was aged up enough for the role. Oh, Blood Diamond. Yes, Blood Diamond is another great movie that no one talks about. Blood Diamond is a hidden gem in my opinion. Phenomenal movie. Came out in 2006. I think it's awesome. Leo in that movie plays a mercenary trying to smuggle a diamond out of Africa, a blood diamond. Beautiful movie. Jennifer Connelly's in it. Can't recommend it enough. So Blood Diamond would be my recommendation to you if you haven't seen it. There was another one I was trying to think of. My brain just went blank. Yeah, The Departed. There's another one. There was something else, and I just forgot about it. That'll do. That's enough Leo movies for tonight. All right, the next one comes from Jesus, who says, "There's an LG OLED 48-inch going for $600. I want to get it and mainly use it for gaming. Do you know if LG does good with gaming?" Oh, yeah, I think all OLEDs will do pretty good with gaming. The refresh rate is phenomenal. The contrast is superior. The only thing you have to look out for, and the biggest complaint I think would be you might get burn-in with gaming on an LG, but I think their newer sets have a lot of features in there that will definitely help that. And some people use OLEDs as a computer monitor, and they don't have any issues. So for $600, 48 inches, and you just want a game on it, hell yeah, man. I definitely recommend it. You won't get a better picture quality. I will promise you that. So I would give that my recommendation. Just get the warranty, because if it does burn in, some warranties don't cover that, but definitely get one that does. And if you do buy one, like I said, buy it from Costco. That way, if the shit breaks, you can just return it in 2 years. No questions asked. All right, Avocado Balls Johnson says, "The Human Centipede Trilogy Special Edition 4K box set is 75% off at Walmart." Is this a real thing? The box set is called The Movie Centipede. It comes with a stained piece of toilet paper autographed by director Tom Six. This sounds like a joke. I believe it is, but now I have to look it up to make sure. Human Centipede box set. I see a box set here. I don't see anything about a toilet paper on it. And the cover looks like it's made out of skin. It's $42. Oh, here's something else. Is this a box? This doesn't look like a box. I see the Seinfeld box set. They should put that with the Human Centipede side by side. Anyway, I can't verify if that's real or not, but let me know. I don't think the toilet paper aspect of it's real, but if it was, that'd be brilliant. Great marketing. Well, I'm going to buy 5 of them. Skylar Wheelock says, in Breaking Bad, Walter's ability to produce extremely pure meth is a major plot point. Do meth addicts really care about the difference between 96% and 99.5% pure meth? Can they even tell the difference? Probably not. Have you seen a real meth head? They forget to brush their teeth, let alone care about 2% of meth. Whatever the cheapest route is that gets them high, they'll probably take. I always thought that was a weird plot point. I mean, do classy people that work white-collar jobs that do meth on occasion, maybe they would care about it? But then again, those people typically don't do meth. They're more so cokeheads, or at least from my experience. Let's go to the next one. Bo Cylinder says, have you ever seen Michael Jackson's Moonwalker? It stars Joe Pesci. I have not. But I'll tell you something I've been looking forward to watching, and I've never really watched all of it. And with the Wicked coming out, and I did just recently watch Wizard of Oz for like the 90th time, and I quite enjoyed it. I wanted to watch The Wiz, starring Michael Jackson as the Scarecrow. And do I expect it to be good? No, absolutely not. I do not. But I wanted to watch it on a cold, rainy, snowy night. And yes, I did say cold, rainy, snowy night. Because that's the kind of night you watch The Wiz. Like slushy snow outside that turns black from all the car exhaust driving by it. You know that depressing time of the winter where that magical winter white wonderland fades away and it just has all the snow's all dirty? That's when you watch The Wiz. Or at least that's when I plan on watching it. The next one comes from Wog Reviews, who says, do you ever quote The Shining when you make love to your wife? Here's Johnny. No, typically only when she's in the shower and I want to scare her and I open up the door all fast. Only then do I say, here's Johnny. And then one day maybe I can break down our bedroom door with an axe when I'm having a midlife crisis and then say it again. All right, the next one comes from Owls, who says, have you seen Series 24? I love that show. I never got into 24. A lot of people liked it. I just never got into it. There's a couple series I was looking into because I've been looking for a good series to watch, and they definitely feel like they're so few and far between these days. The one series I was looking to watch was called The Day of the Jackal, starring Eddie Redmayne, about playing a hitman. I don't know if that concept would lend itself to a good series, but I was kind of looking into that. What was another series I was looking at? No, that's not it. This isn't it. This isn't it. Yeah, there was another series I was looking at watching. Sort of had a cult following. Now I can't find it anywhere in my screenshots because that's what I do. I take a whole bunch of screenshots that I never look at again. Oh, I'll tell you a weird movie. You know what? I just showed my wife for the first time the other night, or actually last night. This is the movie we watch. Oh, I'm sorry. The series I was referring to was it's called Patriot. It came out in 2015, and people say it's good. I've never seen it. But I did show my wife last night the movie The Labyrinth, starring David Bowie from 1986, I believe, directed by Jim Henson, because I was just in the mood to watch some weird stuff from the 80s. And The Labyrinth is weird and eerie, but I recommend it. If you've never seen The Labyrinth, give it at least a one watch. It is technically a musical because David Bowie does sing a few times, but it's so bizarre. And it's so odd you can't look away. My only gripe with The Labyrinth is no one in the movie's likable. Like, none of the side characters are likable. I don't think Jennifer Connelly's character is all that likable. Even the little baby Toby who gets kidnapped by David Bowie isn't that likable. But it's a great movie. It's pure 80s fantasy, and that's what I like about it. Oh, David Bowie's codpiece? What do you mean codpiece? You can just literally see his dick and balls in his tight pants. Like you can just see it. It's just there. Oh, there it is. Just dangling, moving all about. Okay, the next one comes from... Oh, God. You guys are killing up the questions. All right, here we go. Let's back up here. Hang on. Give me a second. I'm getting close to the new question. Here we go. Skylar Wheelock says, would you rather see Nick Cage be the lead in another Michael Bay movie or Leonardo DiCaprio be the lead in another Nolan movie? I would much rather see Nick Cage be the lead in a Michael Bay movie. That sounds good to me. I've seen Leo in enough Nolan movies. I get it. Let's go somewhere else. But yeah, if you could add explosions with Nick Cage, maybe some robots, yeah, give me that. I'll watch that. All right, the next one comes from Dustin Rich, who says, you should watch Barry Lyndon, John. Something about watching Barry repeatedly beat his adult-looking son's ass cracks me up. People have been telling me to watch that for a long time. It's on my list. Maybe I'll check into it, man. I need a good show. It wasn't Banshees, if that's what someone referred to earlier. John was right about Target. What was I right about? That there's nothing to buy and no reason to ever go there? Yeah, the Bowie Constrictor. Absolutely. I've never seen The Voices with. No, I have not. With Ryan Reynolds, I have not seen it. Nick Cage and John Woo can do no wrong. I'm talking to you, Face Off. Gabe K says, the ending of Martyrs 2008 will stay with me forever, John. Wild ass fucking shit. What are some of your favorite movie endings? Oh gosh, I mean, where do you even start with that? How do I even start with my favorite movie endings of all time? I love movie endings where the bad guy wins. Those are some of my favorites, like Nightcrawler or American Psycho. But I have not seen Martyrs 2008. It's on the to-do list. We've talked about it a few live streams ago. I've heard it's one of the most bizarre, crazy movies. I'm looking forward to watching it. Though I will say the trailer didn't look that good. I did watch the trailer, but I'm looking forward to the movie. Are you talking about twists or just generalized movie endings? Because I'll tell you a few that I quite enjoy. The ending to Stand By Me, where Richard Dreyfuss is doing the narration, kind of just talking about his life and his friends, that always hit home with me. I think that's a phenomenal movie ending. That's just one. But I mean, I would need to do a whole dedicated live stream just talking about movie endings. But what I will do right now, and I want you guys to chime in right now because I want to know your thoughts. What are some of your favorite movie endings of all time? Share those right now in the chat, and I'll read some of them. Maybe it'll spark one I'm not thinking of off the top of my head. Yeah, let me know some of your favorite movie endings of all time. All right. The next one comes from Claudio Rogajon. How's it going, man? Okay. Hey, John. I was randomly thinking about Judge Dredd the other day, and I was just curious about your thoughts on the 1995 Stallone version. I am the law. I think they got the tone and look right, and I'm not against the casting of Stallone. The story was just blah. Yeah, and I think having Rob Schneider as the sidekick did not add anything to it. And it is a pure mid-1990s comic book movie. I think the look of the city was fine. I think Stallone as Dredd was fine. But you're right. The biggest detriment to that movie is simply the story. It's just boring. And him having like a brother that's his brother kind of looks like him or something like that, I thought was just blah. You're right. The biggest detriment to that movie is the story. But I would say it's kind of a guilty pleasure, but it's just one of those movies, like if I'm in the mood to watch like a futuristic Stallone movie from the mid-90s, I'd much rather just watch Demolition Man. I'm just going to tell my kids Demolition Man is Dredd. Judge Dredd from the 90s. But my favorite scene in Judge Dredd from the 90s is when they're that plane flying to the prison crash lands in the desert, and they get kidnapped by that hillbilly cannibal family that have a robot son. Hey, Paul, I want to eat him. I kind of liked that scene. Anyway. Robots that eat people. Yeah, it makes sense, I guess. Avocado Balls Johnson back again says, the only time I've enjoyed watching Leonardo DiCaprio is when Robert De Niro is kicking his hotshot punk ass in This Boy's Life. Ooh, yes, good pick. This Boy's Life actually is, I quite enjoy that movie. It's based on a true story. And Leo in that movie plays this kid, and he gets this asshole stepdad, and they move into the middle of nowhere in, I believe, like West Virginia. And Robert De Niro plays such a dick in that movie. And it's pretty good. Recommend watching This Boy's Life. Really good movie set in the 1960s, I believe. Claudia Rogajon says, hey, John, I was randomly... we answered that. Skylar Wheelock says, what kind of movie ending would you prefer? A twist ending you didn't see coming? Or a straightforward ending, or a sad but memorable ending? I would rather just have... I think a twist ending's good if it works for the story, but as long as it has a logical conclusion to the story, and I think the best ending to a movie is one that kind of makes you ponder your own thoughts and feelings, that makes you think bigger than the movie, that somehow connects with you on an emotional level. I think that's the ultimate way to end a movie. Like, it'll make you think about the future or the past, for example. Like going back to mentioning Stand By Me's ending. That movie makes me think about my entire life and my future and almost gives me a midlife crisis halfway through. But let's get into some of your favorite endings. Desiree Scrap says Terminator 3. Well, the best thing about Terminator 3 was, in fact, the ending where they go to the nuclear fallout shelter. Had the movie just went there halfway through, I think that would have made a better movie, and then the next half of it takes place there. That sounds like a good time to me. The Usual Suspects, it's a good twist, but unpopular opinion, outside of the twist ending of watching The Unusual Suspects just once, I've never had the urge to watch it again. Shawshank Redemption, The Sixth Sense, Fight Club, The Usual Suspects. I quite enjoy the ending to Shawshank Redemption. I think that was the earned ending to that movie. And that's what I'm saying. That's an ending to the film. So when you get to the ending of Shawshank Redemption, right, you go through all the struggles, the trials and tribulations. It's depressing. It's gloomy. It all takes place in this prison. But by the end, you get this fulfilling ending that was truly earned. And that, to me, makes a great ending. The Shining ending, yeah, that's another one. Fight Club's ending, it's okay. I love me some Fight Club. Collateral has a great ending. Collateral's ending's okay, but my biggest complaint with it is you have Jamie Foxx, who's never shot a gun before, and then you have this trained hitman assassin played by Tom Cruise, and somehow he loses the shootout. I don't know. Yes, okay, I think this might be the best answer of the day. Here's the best answer of the day, and I might just end it with this. Not the live stream, just the question. The ending to Point Break. That, to me, is the most logical, fulfilling ending that demonstrates both characters truly developing and changing as people. Maybe not so much Bodhi, but Johnny Utah's character definitely has an arc with that ending. I'm not going to paddle to New Zealand. Just let me go out there, Johnny. Let me catch one wave. He ain't coming back. Yeah, the ending to Point Break, that'll give a grown man tears. I'll tell you another movie that'll give a grown man tears, talking about 1991 action movies. That's a little movie called Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Now, technically not the very end of the movie, but when the T-800 goes down to that melted steel and that thumb goes up, holy shit, I'm crying. Tears will trickle down my cheek. All right, let's go to the next one here. And the next one comes from Claudio Rogajon, who says, you ever going to watch the show Banshee? At some point, it's on the to-do list, man. I promise it's on the to-do list. The next one comes from Skylar Wheelock, who says, back to the Breaking Bad meth for a second. Okay, let's go there. I think it's a metaphor for Walter's transformation, becoming technically perfect but morally corrupt, just like his product. Well, yeah, I agree with that. There's definitely some symbolism there. But the truth is, do meth heads care about 99% pure meth? I don't know. JD Review says, any plans for little flicksters? Don't get scared now. Probably in a couple years. The truth is, kids are very expensive. And in this economy, you want me to reproduce? I don't know about that. Maybe in a couple years, though. I don't know if I'm mentally quite ready for it, but I can assure you I'm definitely not financially ready for it. Craig Thompson says, I like the first Terminator. I like Arnold as a bad guy. Yeah, I do too, but I like him more as a good guy. I'm sorry. I think T2 is the superior Terminator movie. Chris R says, hey, John, what's your favorite Jim Cornette rant? Anything about Wendy's. Whenever that man talks about going through the Wendy's drive-thru, it's a good time. But I do love me some Jim Cornette podcasts. I listen to him on a weekly basis. And I'll tell you what I miss most. Right now, since it's winter, I obviously cannot mow my grass. Though I could, and people would probably think I was a crazy guy in my front yard. But I miss mowing my front yard listening to the Jim Cornette wrestling podcast. Let's go to the next one. The 50% Doctor Who podcast say, are you keen for the Robbie Williams biopic Better Man? He's played by a CGI monkey and is from the director of The Greatest Showman. I have zero interest in watching that. I get that they're doing something zany and kooky and he wants to be Caesar from Planet of the Apes, but I just don't know how well that movie's going to do. I don't know who that's for. I really don't. So am I excited to see it? Not really. Those are my thoughts on it. I wish I had more to give you. All right, the next one comes from Avocado Balls Johnson once again. The worst type of movie is uneventful Oscar bait historical dramas. Remember Zero Dark 30, Hurt Locker, Foxcatcher, Argo? Me neither. Oh, absolutely. I completely agree with every single one of those choices you picked. And Argo was the most overrated pile of forgetfulness junk I've ever seen. I think the concept sounds okay, but the execution of that movie was really boring. And that was coming off hot off the heels of my favorite Affleck movie, The Town. I think The Town is 10 times the movie that Argo is. But somehow Argo wins Best Picture. I don't know. Politics in Hollywood, call me crazy. But yeah, as far as Zero Dark 30, never cared about it. Hurt Locker, watched it once. Foxcatcher, sort of an interesting story, but man, that movie made me want to fall asleep. The true story of Foxcatcher's interesting, but also the movie Crash, another uneventful, forgettable Oscar bait movie. All right, the next one comes from Matthew D., who says, one of my favorite movie endings of all time is the end of Furious 7. It really brings out the emotion knowing that Paul Walker's last Fast and Furious film. Oh, yeah, in Fast 7, when they go different ways and they're playing the, Khalifa or whatever song, that's a very sad ending. I think that was the most respectful way to end that and say goodbye to Paul Walker. And then you have Paul Walker's like brother who's skinnier than him walking out on the beach with his family and they're all looking at him from the distance. I was like, okay, I think that's a fair ending. But yeah, the only thing that throws me off in that, and I know they probably did their best, it's just that Paul Walker face image where he's looking at Vin Diesel from the car window, and he's smiling, but you can clearly tell like they copy and pasted his face from another scene. I'm like, that's literally the best you could do there. You couldn't touch it up just a little bit. I don't know, but it is a good emotional ending. But outside of that, every movie after Fast 5 just sucks ass, in my opinion. I think they're all disposable junk, and I'm looking forward to the end of that franchise very quickly. But maybe the next one will go back to basics and maybe it'll be good. I don't know. Okay, Claudia Rogajan says, just wanted to say, I've been on a bad action movie binge with my brother recently, watching a lot of Steven Seagal movies, Dolph Lundgren, and Van Damme movies. Do you have any bad action movie guilty pleasures? I mean, dude, I have a million guilty pleasure action movies. I mean, if you're talking about Van Damme, I mean, shit. Watching Street Fighter from 1994 is a guilty pleasure action movie to me. It's disgusting almost at times, just how bad it is. But Chung-Li in that movie looks great. But yeah, that's a guilty pleasure one. Lionheart starring Van Damme is a guilty pleasure. I was never a Steven Seagal fan. I really never was. I hated looking at the dude's shitty ponytail and his stoic acting. I hated that guy every time I saw him. And plus, he just never looked as muscular as an action star should. And as far as Dolph Lundgren's solo career in action movies, never really got into it. I remember one day when I was a kid watching the Dolph Lundgren Punisher movie from the 80s, and thinking, wow, this is the biggest piece of shit I've ever seen. The majority of the movie takes place in a sewer. Sucks. So those are a few off the top of my head, man. Frederick LeBrun says, hey, John, are you looking forward to Nosferatu? Absolutely. It might just be my most anticipated movie of December. I'm hoping to add it to my top 10 best of the year list. I'm hoping it just gives me everything I need and immerses me into this dark, bleak reality with a creepy German vampire. That's all I want. That's all I need. Please, I want it now. So yeah, are you guys looking forward to Nosferatu? I'm trying to get my hands on an early screener of it. I heard some early screeners went out, so I'm trying to get my hands on that, but we'll see. Okay, the next one comes from Skylar Wheelock once again. Did you hear that the sequel to Slumdog Millionaire is in development? No one asked for this, and yet no Nightcrawler sequel. I know, it's baffling. If you just, like, you could make a sequel to Nightcrawler for like $15 million. The first movie only cost like $8 million. $15 million? How does a streaming service just not put up the cash for this? But they'll spend like $88 million on some shitty Roadhouse sequel. I love the original. The sequel sucked. Crazy to me. But but with all that said, I could see a Slumdog Millionaire sequel being kind of cool. I could see, if they do it right, I could see that being somewhat interesting. I like movies like that. But I haven't seen the original for like 10 years or maybe even longer. Did that come out in like 2008? Is that 2008? The last time I saw that movie was probably like 2009 then. Oh man, back at it again. M, you are too good to me, man. You're too nice. Just blowing it away with the super chats, man. Too generous. I want to give you a high five, a hug, and maybe tickle you. I don't know. Whatever you want. I'll do whatever you need. But anyway, let's get to the question here. M says, thanks, John, for the continued entertainment. I always look forward to your lives because you are truly in your element. Well, thank you for that, man. I'll be honest with you. I prefer doing live streams more than anything else on YouTube. If I could only make live streams, I would only make live streams. In my opinion, why would I make one 6-minute jump cut video when I can make a 2-hour live stream talking about 90 different topics that are fun and interesting and engaging? And when it comes to YouTube, my motto has always been, it's about interacting with the people that watch you. This is why people watch YouTube. Rather than watch Netflix, it's about interacting with your audience. It's about instant feedback. It's about having a conversation. So to sum it up, man, thank you so much. And thanks for the super chat once again, man. You're too good to me. You're too good. And I love you. Okay. All right, let's go to the next one here. But too good, man. Thank you. You guys are all too generous. It does help out. I appreciate it so much. The next one comes from, and I'm reading the normal chat now. There's a Dune show. Yeah, I haven't heard anything good about the Dune show other than it's pretty lackluster and mediocre. And that's coming from people who love Dune. They're like, yeah, it's okay. Which is baffling, isn't it? It's like you have all these TV shows that somebody invested hundreds of millions of dollars in, like the Lord of the Rings show on Amazon Prime. And they're just not good. Isn't that so baffling? Like, how did we get to this point? Hundreds of millions of dollars on these popular IPs, but the shows simply suck ass. Black Friday video? Hey, you're watching it, man. This is the Black Friday video. As I said in the beginning of this live stream, there was nothing to buy or show you at Black Friday. I went to Walmart tonight. I took my camera with me. I was ready. I was prepped. I had my Jurassic Park hoodie on. I was ready to go. There's nothing to show you. The only thing I would have talked about in that video is how Black Friday sucks. It would have been a 2-minute video, and then it would have concluded with me crying in a parking lot. And thinking about that now sounds like quality entertainment, but I just didn't have it in me. After walking through the store and just looking at nothing, there was nothing to show you. Like, I was just... So this is my Black Friday video. So thanks for hanging out for Black Friday. We can all be depressed together, but it's okay. We have each other. As fans, we prefer normal videos. Do you though? As a fan, why would you prefer a normal video that I'm literally just going to edit the shit? It's going to be 5 minutes long, but now during a live stream, you're getting essentially like 50 videos in one for 2 hours, and I'm talking about everything and anything I would ever talk about in an edited video. For me as a viewer and a content creator, I'd much rather watch a live stream because you get the real visceral version of someone. You don't get this edited format. You don't get this like sterilized version of someone where they're cutting out all the ums and ahs and they're going to read off a script. That shit ain't real. If you want some jump cut nonsense, there's plenty of that on YouTube. I want raw, unedited, visceral entertainment from my mouth to your ears. It's unadulterated and unfiltered. This is the real shit. And if there's anything you want me to talk about, simply just ask me the question. I'll talk about it. Okay, the next one comes from and plus, you know, the thing I'm going to start, and I've been saying this, I'm going to do it. I'm recording this live stream right now. By the way, watching the live stream right now, does it look a little choppy as you're watching it? I'm recording it in my software, and sometimes it does that. Anyway, I'm going to start chopping up the live streams so I can take some of the interesting questions or topics and breaking those up into clips and videos by themselves and posting them on this channel. Because I completely understand if you can't watch a 2-hour live stream, that's a lot of shit to weed through, and I don't blame you. But if you do, thank you for that, and don't ever change what you're doing. But I will start breaking these up, and I'll put some clips out from the live streams, some of the more juicy questions or more topical questions. Flick trips were a product of the time, unfortunately. Yes and no, because you have to understand, flick trips weren't always just about going to buy physical media. Flick trips were about going on any adventure relating to a movie. I could make a flick trip going to the gas station and buying Sour Patch Kids and then going to see a new movie. That to me would be a flick trip. It doesn't always have to conclude with buying something. So flick trips are anything that we go on an adventure for relating to movies. But I will say the version of buying physical media in flick trips, yeah, maybe it's slowing down because there's not much shit to buy. But as far as making flick trips, I'll still occasionally always do a new flick trip video. Okay, the next one comes from Lee B. Films, who says, thoughts on Catherine Bigelow's 2025 movie, which is a political thriller set in the White House. Well, listen, Catherine Bigelow directed Point Break, but she also directed Zero Dark 30, which was okay. And then she directed that really forgettable sci-fi movie from 1995. What was that called? Strange Days? Some people like it. I thought it was not what I wanted. Anyway, I don't know anything about the new political thriller she's directing, but I'll check it out. No clue about it. Yeah, I'll never give up smelling bike tires. Not now, not ever. Not in this life or the next. Okay, Drunken Boxing says, howdy, Big John. Well, howdy, buddy. How's it going, man? How are you doing tonight? Is everyone eating their leftover Thanksgiving meals and pumpkin pie? And the only way you can eat pumpkin pie is if you literally douse it in 5 gallons of whipped cream and then eat it. Skylar Wheelock says, have you watched Viggo Mortensen's Western, The Dead Don't Hurt? Highly recommend. It gives off Unforgiven vibes. Also directed it. I have not seen it. I really haven't. What year did it come out? I have not watched that Western movie. I haven't seen it. Gladiator movie night was the perfect, just like that is worth the effort. Well, thank you. JD Reviews, I believe, is referencing my movie night I made with my wife. I showed my wife Gladiator for the first time ever in a special movie night video over on the Flickpick channel, my main channel. And by the way, people are still confused. I have 2 channels. This is the John Flickinger channel. This is where I post my live streams and other weird shit. And the Flickpick is my main channel where I post all of my edited content, more or less. So anyway, I have a new movie night episode over there on the Flickpick channel. I posted about a week ago where I show my wife Gladiator for the first time. So check that out if you get bored. Or if you can't, if you want, no big deal. But please go check it out. All right. The next one comes from, like, doing a live stream with movie commentary. I've thought about doing a live stream with movie commentary occasionally, but I just feel like we would go off topic so much during a live stream. I feel like we would not stay on topic of the movie. So sure, I would talk about the movie and we could all watch it together, but halfway through, we're going to start talking about some other random shit. I just know it. And then it's going to get to the point where we don't even talk about the movie. So I don't know. It might logistically be kind of hard to do. Gilliam LaBelle says, seeing Wicked tomorrow, hope I enjoy it. Listen, if you just accept it for what it is and knowing you're watching a musical and if you take some edibles beforehand, I think you'll enjoy the movie. Or at least I did. I'll do it for you, Flicky Picky. Well, thanks, man. Thank you so much. Okay, the next one comes from Claudia Rogajon, who says, funny you mentioned Dolph Lundgren's Punisher movie taking place half of it in the sewer. The reason for that is because they shot the movie in Sydney, Australia, and to hide the fact it wasn't in New York, it took place in an enclosed location, laugh out loud. Yeah, I think for some reason I knew that. For some reason I knew like they filmed it somewhere that it was due to the budget that they just had to put it in a sewer. So anyway, yeah, if you want to watch the Punisher walk around in a sewer for half of a movie, go watch the Dolph Lundgren Punisher movie. That sucks really bad. All right, let's go to the next one here. And if you guys have any questions in the normal chat, please type away. I'm looking at everything right now. If you guys are YouTube members, now is the time to shine. What about a flick trip revisiting movie shooting locations? So let me tell you I had an idea. But I didn't want to start a GoFundMe for this shit. But then again, maybe I will. Maybe now is the time. I've always wanted to do a really epic flick trip documentary style feature-length movie. Call it 90 minutes. Where we do a flick trip, but we do go across America, revisiting some of the coolest movie locations, do some interviews along the way, and really just deep dive into movies and physical media and filming locations and really cool places. Like I wanted to maybe showcase some awesome home theater rooms or the shooting location of Home Alone in New York City. I wanted to rent a DeLorean to drive for the flick trip across America. That was an idea I had one day when I was taking a crap, and I don't know if it'll ever come to fruition, but, maybe one day. Yeah, going to the Rocky Steps in Philadelphia. There's all kinds of cool places I'd like to check out. Maybe get an interview with Corey Feldman. I'm sure he would probably do it, you know. Just all right. John, I volunteer to DP and edit this documentary. Well, send me your demo reel, man. What do you got? Send me something on Twitter or X. I definitely will need a quality cameraman. So I will say that. Gilliam LaBelle says, what would be for you a fantastic performance in a truly bad movie? I got to think on that for a minute. That's hard for me to do. A bad movie with a great performance. That's a tough question off the top of my head. Oh my gosh. Let me think on it for a couple minutes here. I will get back to it, but that's a great question for everyone watching right now. Let's back up. What's a shitty movie with a great performance in it? Please let me know that right now. I'll think on that for a second, man. Let me answer this question and maybe something will come to mind. I got to think on it for a second. Okay, here we go. Neil McCauley says, have you seen Ravenous with Guy Pearce? One of my all-time favorites, great mix of horror and dark comedy. Also, what's your weekly grocery bill like? Inflation is a motherfuck. Man, what is this Guy Pearce in Ravenous? I've heard of this movie. I've never watched it. Ravenous, Guy Pearce. Yeah, I've never sat down and watched this. What year was this? 99? I have heard of this movie throughout the years and never watched it. You're saying it's pretty good? What's it got? We got a 6.9 in IMDb. Rotten Tomatoes has a 52%, but what the hell do they know? By the way, did you know I'm an approved Rotten Tomatoes critic? Okay, I'll add it to the list, man. Looks cool. I love me some Guy Pearce. I especially loved him in Prometheus wearing way too many prosthetics. Nicolas Cage in anything. That's not true. Nicolas Cage has given some good performances. Mr. Freeze and Batman and Robin, I think that's the choice here. Daniel Day-Lewis in Gangs of New York. I don't think that's a bad movie. I get what you're saying. He definitely is the highlight of that movie, but I don't think it's a shitty movie. Okay, yeah, here's one. Okay, I think Christian has it right here. Joaquin Phoenix's performance in Joker 2. Good performance, terrible movie. I don't think you can top that. I really don't. What was it like? Oh, okay. So let's go back to your question here. You asked me about my grocery bill. You want the real life stuff. I like that, man. I like talking about real life stuff. Yeah, the economy sucks right now. Everything is expensive. I'm not a rich guy. I promise you. I live paycheck to paycheck, man. And YouTube, it's hard to predict the future on YouTube. My grocery bill, I swear, we go and buy like 10 things and it's like $147. A case of soda right now is like $15. It's scary shit. We just went to Walmart tonight and I bought a few bags of candy and a few frozen pizzas. And I think we bought some like deli meat and a loaf of bread and it was like $53. And I'm like, what? What just happened? I literally almost had the urge to steal it out of principle. I was almost just going to run out of the front door. So anyway, my grocery bills, I don't know. It's to a point, and I hate to say this, it's almost cheaper to go to McDonald's and buy some fries and a burger and some chicken nuggets and spend like $8 for a dinner for yourself than it is to go to the store and buy groceries anymore. It's bizarre and scary, isn't it? It didn't always used to be that way. I'm not happy about it. So anyway, it's always too much. That's the answer I can give you. Like you buy you buy some toilet paper, it's like $28. It's like it costs $30 to wipe your ass. Like I don't know. Part of me always just wants to give up everything, just sell everything I own and go build a cabin in the woods And then after like a week, I'd realize, oh gosh, I need internet and I need technology. And how am I going to watch this movie? I don't know. Yeah. So I hope I answered your question. Even McDonald's is getting pricey. That is true. Oh, here's a great one. Gilliam LaBelle says Michael Fassbender in Dark Phoenix. That's a pretty good answer as well. I would agree with that. Ana de Armas in Blonde. Yep, that's another good one. Jonathan Majors in Ant-Man 3. I thought he was just okay in that movie. I thought the character, what's the character's name that got canceled? Kane, the Conqueror. Can I say something to all of you right now? I have a little movie confession I want to share with all of you right now. I'm happy that Kane the Conqueror won't be the big next villain of the Marvelverse of comic book movies. I don't think that character is that interesting. I think he would have been fine if you did him like 5 years ago in the MCU. But at this point, he just feels like a filler for a big baddie that I don't care about and I know they're going to beat. So Kane the Conqueror being canceled in the movies, I was kind of happy. I was like, I don't care. I really don't. I had no interest in that character whatsoever. And I'd much rather see Robert Downey Jr. come back as Doctor Doom. Even if it sucks, I'd be more curious to see that. And that's a very unpopular opinion maybe, but I'll stand by it. I stand by it. Okay, the next one here comes from Claudio Rogajan once again. Claudio, what are you doing tonight, man? What are you doing for fun? Anyway, that's my question for you. Let me know. Come on, John. The Punisher with London ain't that bad. Yeah, it's a guilty pleasure, but it has some fun moments and surprisingly gets a lot right about the Punisher. Also, I always liked the bit about him and he kind of has a death wish and refuses armor. I like all of those concepts, but just not the execution in the 1980s Punisher movie, man. It just doesn't feel like a real Punisher movie to me. I'm sorry. V-Chet says, rank Collateral, Minority Report, Maverick, and LDR. It's too late for acronyms. What does LDR mean? LDR. Somebody help me out. LDR. What does LDR mean? Somebody help me out. Well, I will say Top Gun Maverick was probably one of the best blockbusters I've seen in the last 5 years that actually feels rewatchable. Sometimes when I'm just in a shitty, depressed mood, I like watching Top Gun Maverick. I love watching the dogfight scenes with the fighter jets. I love that it's actually sort of practically filmed. And that scene, and I know I mentioned this and I'll mention it again to 263 people watching right now. And thank you guys for watching. But that scene where Maverick, Tom Cruise, is trying to prove to all those rookie pilots that this mission can be accomplished in the time frame with all the G-forces, and he's proving it, and he's going, I'm like, that is a man. That is a man, and it literally gives me goosebumps, and I love it. So, with all that said, did anyone figure out what the acronym to that was? I don't know yet. Anyway, if I had to pick one, I think Collateral. I actually like Collateral more than Minority Report. I do. I like Minority Report. I really do enjoy it, but I like Collateral more. I've always enjoyed a nighttime vibe movie that just takes place in a city that doesn't feel overly produced. I love movies like that. And I think as far as a performance goes from Tom Cruise, I think my favorite performance he's ever given was probably in Collateral playing a bad guy, Vincent. So I like Collateral. I think I actually like Maverick more than Minority Report. And I know that's crazy. I know it's crazy. I know that's a crazy thing to say, but I think it has more rewatchability. That's just me. Oh, Live, Die, Repeat. That's a piece of shit, man. That can't be what it stood for. And yes, I am sort of looking forward to the Final Reckoning movie with Tom Cruise. But let's all be honest. That movie's just going to be a highlight reel of Tom Cruise spending the studio's money and having a good time because, let's be honest, Tom Cruise has a death wish. And hey, if I was a millionaire and I had nothing left to lose in life, I'd probably just have fun jumping out of planes and say, hey, record this on IMAX. Like, here we go. All right, let's go to the next one here. Gilliam LaBelle says Maverick and IMAX was eye candy. Yeah, man. And hey, I'm looking forward to the next installment. I'm sold. Give me more of that. That's all I want. That's why I'm also sort of looking forward to the upcoming Christopher Nolan movie. And if the rumors do end up being true, if it is in fact about helicopter pilots and they shoot in IMAX and there's like that buddy cop team up vibe and it's a futuristic setting starring Tom Holland and Matt Damon, that sounds like my kind of movie. But that's just a rumor. We'll see what happens, but I'm hoping that's what it is. Oh, Edge of Tomorrow. Yes. Oh, is that what you meant? LDR, Live, Die, Repeat? I was not even thinking that. Yes, Edge of Tomorrow, Live, Die, Repeat. Now, okay, so that changes everything because I truly think Live, Die, Repeat or Edge of Tomorrow, whatever you want to call it, is truly one of the most underrated sci-fi films of the last 20 years. So, with that being said, that definitely deserves a sequel. The fact that we don't have a sequel for that, I think now would be the time. And I think it would do better now than it ever could because I think people are desperate and horny for a big action sci-fi film that's good. And I think Live, Die, Repeat, the sequel, would definitely lend itself to that. But I don't know. To re-rank all of those, I don't know. But I would definitely put it in there on my list of favorite Tom Cruise movies. But as far as like watching an epic, oh, absolutely. It's side by side with Edge of Tomorrow or Maverick. And Emily Blunt and Edge of Tomorrow, top notch. And JD Reviews has just become a member. Well, thanks, JD Reviews. Yay! Thanks, man. Check out the member-only videos on the channel now. Just go look at the videos. You should see them right there. So thanks for that. John, thoughts on the Running Man remake? Okay, listen, if you made the tone of the Running Man remake, who's the director of that? Now that really depends on getting a competent director. But if you got a really competent director who knew how to film action, and in the Running Man you had some like awesome one-shot tracking sequences, and hell, put the guy in yellow spandex. I think that would be visually stimulating to me for all the right reasons. I think a Running Man remake could be awesome. I really do. There's so much you could do with that. And at the core of that story, it is sort of simple. It's a guy stuck in this situation and he has to overcome all of these odds and all these different events. I love things like that. So I think I would enjoy a Running Man remake if you if you had the right cast and the right director. I think you could have an awesome action movie on your hands. I really do. And I think that's one movie that lends itself to being that's one movie that I think you can remake and maybe, just maybe, make it better than the original. I know. I love me some Arnold in The Running Man, but I think it could lend itself to a quality modern day telling. Anybody else? I don't know. As long as they have yellow spandex, I'll be happy. And you have the shocker. Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, sci-fi Groundhog Day. Edge of Tomorrow. Edgar Wright's directing it? Interesting. Is that who's really directing it? Now, if Edgar Wright's directing a Running Man remake and you have some of the visual stylings of something like Scott Pilgrim or some of the vitality and energy of something like Baby Driver, I can see it being kind of a cool movie. Okay. Who does it star? By the way, I'm really looking forward to, and once again, I think this would probably be one of the worst movies of next year, but for some odd reason, I want to see it so much. That new Mark Wahlberg movie directed by Mel Gibson, where he plays like this convict being transported on this small plane and he's bald. What is that called? Like turbulence or something? I don't know. Hey, what are you doing over there? You want to fly a plane or something? John, would you survive Jurassic Park or The Lost World? Isla Sorna. Lost World. Which one would I better survive? Probably. Probably I think I'd have better chances in surviving the original Jurassic Park, because I feel like there were still like fences and security mechanisms that would help. By the once you get to the second movie, it's like it's overrun. There's too many dinosaurs on the island. I wouldn't survive. No way. Joseph Kosinski could direct it. Oh, absolutely, man. He's one of my favorite directors working today. If there's like one modern day director who I think can compete with what James Cameron was doing in the 80s and 90s when it comes to making an epic action movie and making it look awesome and perfectly directed and crafted and having this timeless style, I think Joseph Kosinski would be that director. Just the things he did with like Tron and what he did with Top Gun Maverick, I'd put $100 million action movie in his hands and have a lot of faith in it. Absolutely. That's who we need directing like Jurassic Park movies. That's the kind of talent we need behind these things. JD Reviews has become... Oh, we already answered that. But thanks for becoming a member once again. I just saw it pop up. Charlie Hunnam would be good in Green Arrow. Yeah, probably. At one point, they had I remember reading when I was a weirdo, and I used to read movie forums in like the mid-2000s, and I still do. Who am I to talk shit? But I remember at one point, speaking of Green Arrow, there was a movie that they wanted to make called Green Arrow Supermax, where Green Arrow's in prison with other comic book villains, and he has to escape. And that to me sounded like a phenomenal idea. If anything, that sounds like a great idea for like Max to make like a limited series for Max. Do that. Take that concept and make a limited series about it. It'd be like the DC villain version of something like Andor. There you go. $1 million idea. All right. I'm going to answer a few more questions, guys. So if you got anything good or juicy, get them in now. Do you like Chris Pratt? I think Chris Pratt's fine, but I think like many other actors, it's sort of, we were inundated with too much Chris Pratt. And Chris Pratt being in the Lost World movies or Jurassic World movies, please forgive me. That kind of tainted him for me. I didn't like his character in those movies. And I wouldn't mind a little break away from Chris Pratt, but generally speaking, I like him. I think he made a good Star-Lord. The Running Man remake is starring Glenn Powell. Okay, you know what? I can see that. I'm okay with that. That's not exactly who I expected, but not a bad choice. At least you got a guy with some charisma. I just hope Glenn Powell doesn't play typical Glenn Powell. Hey, I'm a cocky, good-looking guy, and I kind of look like Brad Pitt, but if you couldn't get Brad Pitt, I'm the guy you hire. You know, kind of that vibe. But I like me some Glenn Powell. Hated him in Twisters, though. Skylar Wheelock says, would you rather have Spider-Man's powers or $50 million? If I could shoot web and swing around or have $50 million... I'll put it like this. If I could fly through the streets of New York City shooting web out of any orifice of my body, and I had super strength, I think I could find a way to make $50 million. So yes, I'd much rather just be Spider-Man. Listen, would I occasionally save somebody? Yeah, probably. But am I going to go out of my way to put a spandex suit on and just prowl the streets looking for crime? Absolutely not. But thinking about it, I would probably just wear the spandex suit around my house, and that would be sufficient. Yeah, Dustin Rich also wanted the Green Arrow Supermax movie. Well, I'm glad somebody else agreed with me. Thank you for that. I'm glad one other person knew what I was talking about there. Crunch Buttsteak says, why did Flick Crazy abruptly end years ago? It just was kind of a hassle to make at the time. And for me, podcasting and live streaming was a little bit foreign on YouTube. And we've come so long. I wish YouTube with live streaming now was how it was in 2016 and 2017, because it wasn't as easy as it is now. And a lot's changed, and I much would have preferred to do live stream shows of my Flick Crazy podcasts in that format than what we were doing with recording them. So I just remember it was too much hassle, and life sort of got in the way at the time. Like it always does, The next one comes from Gotcha17, who says, who should star in a Drive remake, God forbid? How about Glenn Powell in the comedy version of a Drive movie? There's a Netflix movie of the week for you. In all seriousness, if I had to pick somebody to be in a Drive remake and you couldn't pick Ryan Gosling, ooh, that's a good question, man. I'm trying to think. Well, you got to give me, what is the tone of the movie? Is it still dark and bleak and very artsy? Or is it going to be like more action, blockbuster, mainstream? These are things I need to know to give you a great answer. Because right now I'm thinking like, how about Macaulay Culkin or something? I don't know. That could be fun. But then again, I'm not saying it's going to be a good movie. I just want to see it. The next one comes from JD Reviews, who says, how about Owen Wilson? Gosh, wow. JD Reviews says, are these live streams up as audio only yet? No, they are not. I have it on the to-do list, I promise you. I want to make the live streams. I want to take clips from the live streams, at least 4 or 5 clips, and make separate videos. I also want to upload these as audio-only versions because I know sometimes it's hard to watch something for 2 hours, but listening to it, okay, maybe occasionally you can do that. So I'm working on it, man. Have I seen Equilibrium? Absolutely. I like it. I really do. The only issue I have with Equilibrium is the twist. And I won't ruin it for everybody, even though the movie came out 20 years ago. I just didn't buy the twist ending with the kid. I'll leave it there. I did not watch the Salem's Lot remake from 2024. I didn't hear anything good about it. The next one comes from... this one comes from Hostman, who says, favorite movie you saw in theaters in the 2000s? Man, there's a lot of great movies in the early 2000s I saw. And keep in mind, this was like this. You know what I miss most? Going to see a movie, and the only time you really got to see the trailer was at the movie theater. And since like 2000 and I'd say like 10, like you get that shit on the internet a week ahead of time. You're inundated with it. You see it everywhere. But pre-2010, you sort of had to go to the movie theater to see the new trailer of a movie. And I always miss that. But my favorite movie to see in theaters, I remember seeing, I'm trying to think of something. I'll tell you one of my favorite theater experiences, and it's because if you combine everything happening that day, it just made for a fun day. So I'll put it like this. My friend and I, we were lowlives. We were slackers, as some people would say. And every time we skipped school, because you could only miss so many days every semester, we made sure each and every single one of those days counted. And we planned ahead of time. No. We didn't just go, oh, we're going to skip school today and try to fake being sick or something. No, we planned ahead of time. So we try to make a whole event out of it. Because if you're going to skip school, well, it's always best to skip school on a Friday, enjoy all night Thursday, stay up late, So I remember we did this one night. We knew we were going to skip school on Friday. And this is in high school. We were like 16 years old at the time. We could drive. So we had freedom, right? So we skipped school on Friday. We went to go see V for Vendetta. And now keep in mind, the night before that, we didn't go to sleep at all. We stayed up all night playing like Grand Theft Auto, eating Taco Bell, drinking Baja Blast. We didn't sleep. We went to the earliest showing of V for Vendetta. I think that was 2005, right? It was like maybe a 10 o'clock showing. And we just went to the theater, watched that, enjoyed our day, didn't have any school. And the best part about all of that was we still had Saturday and Sunday off. It was beautiful and it was glorious. And my biggest recommendation to you, if you're in high school right now, do something like that. Give yourself a nice 3-day weekend. Because I assure you, life is too short. And I promise you this, that extra day of high school will not matter. Ever. Okay? Take it from a guy talking about movies in his underwear 20 years later. Okay? All right. So let's go to the next question here. Yeah, you got to do it Ferris Bueller Day style, man. Make it count. All right, the next one comes from Gotcha17 says, directed by Joseph Kosinski. So is Joseph Kosinski directing the new Running Man movie? I'm a bit confused right now. If that's the case, absolutely. Give it to me now. Night King 01 says, John, instead of thinking of what a Driver remake would be like, just watch Driver from 1978. Yes, it's just another excuse to mention the movie Driver to you. Night King, I promise you, I swear a vow to you today, by the old gods and the new, I will watch Driver from 1978 at some point in the year 2025. That is my promise. That is my commitment to you. Okay? All right. All right. I promise I will. All right. The next one comes from JD Reviews, who says trailer debuts in movie theaters were the best. I'll never forget the first Cloverfield trailer in front of Transformers or being so confused and intrigued. Absolutely, man. Yeah. GF Hostman says Batman Begins. Absolutely. Another one that when I saw that in 2005, it literally made me love movies in a different way. And that's probably one of the main reasons I'm talking about movies on YouTube with you right now. Something about watching Batman Begins in the theater I was like, I like movies, but this encapsulates why I like them so much. And I just realized it because maybe in 2005, my brain fully developed as a teenager, and I could grasp and comprehend my own existence. And by doing that, I looked at movies a different way with a different perspective. So maybe that's why I enjoyed it. But yeah, watching that. But no, going back to watching trailers for the first time in theaters, the first time I saw the Dark Knight trailer in theaters, and I will say this. The first teaser trailer for The Dark Knight, I didn't love because all you had were the blue flames with Alfred's voice going, talking about chaos and whatever. You change things. That was okay. I didn't love it. But when they actually had the live action teaser trailer where they showed the Joker for the first time and they showed the truck flipping over, that was a reason in itself to go to the movie theater to watch that trailer. That's probably one of my favorite trailers of all time. John, will you watch The Voices with Ryan Reynolds? Yes, I will watch it. I will watch The Driver, Dustin. Don't lie. I'll watch it, I promise. I remember the trailer for Batman Begins played Nickelback. What? No, I don't remember that. And if it did happen, it never did. Let's all eradicate that memory from our brain. But the first teaser trailer for Batman Begins, I thought it was just going to be like some ninja movie. And then he opens up that cabinet door and you see the Bat Cowl. I was like, oh. I was like, wait, they just made a dark and gritty Batman movie? That's because, gotta think, the last Batman movie we got before that was 1997's Batman and Robin. You got to think that's the last piece of shit Batman movie we had. And then you get Batman Begins. It's like, we don't deserve this as humanity. JD Review says, oh my God, Batman Begins trailer did have Nickelback. Did it? Did it have Nickelback? Well, that's the best Nickelback's ever sounded. All right. I thought that was the Spider-Man trailer that had Nickelback. Anyway, Legendary says, John Mathieson, DP of Gladiator 1 and 2, called Ridley Scott lazy for leaving equipment and crew in shots and relying mostly on post-production removal. You don't say. Ridley Scott's lazy? And Gladiator 2 is an example of that? Water is wet. I could have told you Ridley Scott has gotten... You could just watch Gladiator 2 and you get the sense that every shot that they did in that movie was done on the first take. It didn't matter what happened. Someone trips, doesn't remember their lines. You could just tell Ridley Scott's like, fuck it. Cut. They'll fix it in post-production. Put some CGI over his mouth. He can say whatever he wants. And all he's saying anyway, he's just rehashing one-liners from the first movie. There's no real in-depth dialogue to be had in this movie. So just crap it out. Yeah, that's exactly how Gladiator felt. Gladiator 2 felt. It definitely just felt like they rushed through that movie and were like, we'll add some CGI rhinos in post-production. Maybe that'll look good. Even that scene where he's fighting the CGI monkeys, it just doesn't even look like the monkey is in the scene. It doesn't even look like they gave Paul Mescal like a pillow to fight with and said, okay, pretend this is a monkey. They didn't even give him that. They're like, just here, move around. We'll add a monkey later or something. We don't know. Claudia Rogajon says, Gladiator TV spot had Kid Rock, no joke. Yeah, but that's fine. if you're going to show me the Roman Coliseum, play some Ba with the Ba. Angry Dane Diggy. Diggy said the boogie. Okay. Legendary says, I get it's his age, but why even go for it at that point? Listen, I don't understand why was Gladiator 2 the story Ridley Scott wanted to make? Why did he, I have to make this movie? You had nothing new to say. You have nothing to say here. Other than the fact maybe your talent is dwindling and maybe you should just retire or try harder because you're adding nothing new to cinema. Crunchy Buttsteak says, I believe that's because Ridley is 85 and feels his time is running out, and he's just trying to finish films for his determent. Yeah, but that's a bad way to make a movie. If you're just trying to rush through shit to get another title under your belt, I disagree with that. Because sometimes I think, and I would always say this, I think quality over quantity is always the right way to go. Yeah, Gladiator was definitely like a 2 out of 10. I don't know if I would ever watch it again. I genuinely don't know if I would. Yeah, Clint Eastwood will direct everything in one take, but Clint Eastwood isn't directing $100 million epics. He's making simple character movies. So I can appreciate that sometimes. And I have heard Juror number 2 is kind of good. I do want to check it out. Are people tired of The Rock? Probably. I think he's being overexposed. He's everywhere that you look, and he's in every movie that comes out every 2 weeks, and he always plays The Rock. I am looking forward to his new movie, The Smashing Machine, the A24 UFC movie. That looks like a good time. That is the kind of role The Rock should play. If you don't know what The Smashing Machine is, look it up. That actually is it looks like the type of movies The Rock should have been in all along. Not shit like Red One. Night King 01 says, one of the funniest things WWE ever did was recreate the iconic Gladiator scene with Stone Cold. Do you remember when you first saw that? Yeah, I think, didn't they do that for when WrestleMania went to Los Angeles, like WrestleMania 2021 or something like 21 probably? I do vaguely remember that. I also remember like a Braveheart reenactment scene at one point, and a few others, but I vaguely do remember that. John, thoughts on the Naked Gun remake? I have not looked into that. I remember hearing about it, but I have not looked into it. Yeah, directing is a young person's game. Well, you know what? I might almost disagree with you ever so slightly on that, because I would say this, and I know the movie is like 10, 12 years old at this point, which is kind of weird to think about. But Martin Scorsese, when he directed Wolf of Wall Street, he was like almost 70 years old. But Wolf of Wall Street had the same energy and vitality and care of a dude who's like 35 years old directing movies. And I think it just comes down to caring and passion. And clearly Ridley Scott doesn't really have those things anymore. And that's okay. He's put his footprint in cinema. The man is a master craftsman when it comes to cinema. Maybe not of late, but he's directed phenomenal movies. But I think, it just depends on the director. Like, I could see James Cameron, if he's still directing movies in 15, 20 years, when he's 60, 70 years old, at that point will probably be on Avatar Part 12. But if he ever decides to do anything outside of Pandora, I still think James Cameron would direct the shit out of a movie and make it look awesome, But because he has this attention to detail. Now, does he have a weird fascination with blue people and saving the planet? Yeah, maybe. But it just really depends on the director. JD Review says, here's hoping you make a top 10 best and worst of 2024. I'm definitely making it. I was actually just sitting down yesterday compiling my top 10 favorite and worst movies of 2024. The worst movies of the list, the way I'll phrase it is my 10 worst movies of the year. I didn't put movies in there like, I don't know, some bullshit child's movie that's obviously bad. But I put basically my top 10 worst of the year are going to be my most disappointing movies of 2024 that just sucked, that should not have. That's going to be the video. And with that, Gladiator 2 will definitely be on that list. But I will make that video. Don't worry, man. Steve Mars says, question, top 3 2024 horror flicks. Mine are Handling the Undead, Maxine the Substance. Yeah, man, some good picks in there. I would definitely put The Substance in there. The Substance might have been my favorite grotesque thriller of the year. I'm hoping Nosferatu can have a prominent place on that list. I'm trying to think of another great horror film from 2024 I put in there. I'd have to really think on it. There's a couple good horror movies this year that I'd put in there. There was something. Oh, God, I cannot remember it. Hang on. Give me a second. I'll look it up. Let's look it up now, actually. Let me find it. Okay. Smile 2 was a pleasant surprise, though I wouldn't say it's the best. Oh, here's a movie here's one movie that will have a prominent place on the worst of the year list. The Watchers. Directed by M. Night Shyamalan's daughter. That was pretty atrocious. Yeah, Long Legs. Don't have the urge to watch it again. Trying to think if there's something else. Yeah, but The Substance might just be my favorite of the year as well, man. I thought there was a few other movies on there. Oh, you know what, though? So here's one thing I need to do. And I almost need to do it, and I hate that I have to do this. I hate it. I hate it. I hate watching movies that I know are going to suck ass simply for the sake of saying I watched it so I can put it in the top 10 worst of the year. But The Crow remake might be that movie. I need to watch it. That way I can simply put it in my top 10 worst of the year. But I hate having to do that. Heretic. Yes, that's it. Thank you. Yes, Heretic was probably one of my favorite horror films of the year. There you go. Thank you for that. I knew I was forgetting something. Night King 01 says, one of the funny... we already answered this. Sorry. Okay. Long legs was okay. I don't know. I missed the start of it. You didn't miss much, man. I was really hoping for more with long legs. For me, I was hoping that long legs would be like the modern day, slightly more fantastical art house version of Silence of the Lambs. I was hoping for this deep dive crime drama movie. I was hoping there'd be more mystery to it. And then what we got was just like, okay, here's Nick Cage being weird, but it never pushed the limits. Like, I was hoping it would have went darker and deeper with it. Because and I'll give you a comparison. I just watched it the other day because I was in a weird dark mood. And that's what I do when I'm in a weird dark mood. I watch Silence of the Lambs. But if in Long Legs, if they would have had some weird scenes, and they had a few weird scenes, but if they would have pushed the limitations and had like the same scene in Silence of the Lambs where Buffalo Bill's dancing and he tucks his no-no parts between his legs. If they would have had a scene like that in Long Legs, okay, you justified its existence. And what I'm saying here is, Nick Cage, I need you to tuck your weenus between your legs and dance around. Maybe that's not even what I'm saying. But I'm just wishing they would have had a memorable sequence in that movie that was dark and over the top. And it almost feels like they're scared to do things like that nowadays. So whip your cock out, Nicolas Cage, because I want some cinema. But I'm not even saying that. I'm just saying it just feels like the movie was scared. It was scared to make a point. I don't think, Nosferatu, that could be it. But I don't think it's going to give me exactly what I'm talking about. Anyway. Okay, guys, I think I'm going to wrap up the live show right there. I think that's a good point to wrap it up. When I talk about Nicolas Cage getting naked, that's the point where I probably should go. But with all that said, I want to say thank you guys so much for watching this new live stream. Thank you guys for the questions. You guys are too awesome. Once again, big thanks to M for his generous questions. And we got one last question here. Don't go anywhere. We got one more from Carter Lovejoy. Thanks for tuning in, man. Here it goes. Did you manage to get any Black Friday deals? Carter, sorry to disappoint. There was nothing to buy, and I bought nothing. I tried. I went. There was nothing to buy, man. I managed to get some good deals online today through Amazon, Groove, and Target. Last year, I said I'm not doing Black Friday again, mostly for in-person shopping. Yeah, I like to go. I just like the tactile approach to it all. I like going out amongst people and shooting a vlog video. It's kind of what I do. It's my nature. But this year, I went, I saw, and there was nothing to see. That was the unfortunate thing, man. So thanks, Carter, for the question, man, and hopefully you got some good deals. But there was, in person, there's nothing to buy. Maybe if you want 10% off on a toaster, maybe go to Walmart. I don't know. But as always, guys, thanks for watching. If you guys could like the live show, give it a like. That's all you really have to do. I'd appreciate it. It lets me know you're watching, listening. And as always, thanks for watching, guys. Oh, and real quick before I go, like I mentioned earlier, I do have a brand new movie night on my main channel, The Flick Pick. The link is down below, of a movie night showing my wife Gladiator for the first time. So that's a good time. Grab some popcorn for that. As always, happy depressing Black Friday. I hope you guys have a good week. I'll see you guys next week with another brand new live show. As always, take care. Have a good night. Watch a good movie. Eat some salty popcorn. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.